Alright, welcome back to the Golden League 2 Round 3. We're playing on Mountain Clearing today. We've got GiveUAnxiety up against Choom in a best of one match here. So everything's on the line with these guys. They've both been knocked down to the losers bracket after a good run so far through the qualifiers and the main tournament. So winner of this continues on the journey, trying to place a little bit higher on the Golden League ladder. Loser of this, I think their journey in Golden League for the year is going to be basically over. So Choom's actually managed to snatch up a few sheep there. Well, GiveUA's just beelining the actual huntables here. Choom's actually managed to snatch up 5 sheep, and I think he got 4 of them off GiveUA's side of the map there, basically. So we've got a real smear between our players. So I guess trying to beeline all these deer makes sense to an extent, but at the same time, the sheep are a nice, easy food source that you don't really have to worry about contesting at all. If I switch it back to regular UI mode, GiveUA on 90 gold, Choom on 100, so Choom's actually come out ahead on the bounty gold and seems to be up on the actual sheep count here. Bearing in mind, Choom's had to commit to 2 scouts while GiveUA is up by a villager, so his gathering will be slightly better off anyway. GiveUA, what's he going for here? He's bringing up all these villagers. Okay, so GiveUA's going for a forward Kremlin right now. Choom just continuing to scout around. Not a huge amount of space on Mountain Clearing, is there? It's a bit like that other really small map in the map pool. I can't remember the name of it now, but came out probably 6 months ago. Pretty similar, but it's even more compact than this one. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but I don't know what it is, but I just like playing Rus on a map like this. And the beauty of this, the cabins are going to be quite strong as well. So there's these quite extended wood lines. Rather than that just being like a small circle of trees or something of that nature, it's just like a big, a big forest here around the entire outskirts of the map. In fact, it's GiveUA that sort of doesn't have as much coverage, but in saying that, you can park a... if it is going to be a longer game, you can park a hunting cabin like right in the middle of that patch and get like 40, 50, 60 gold a minute. So end up paying back quite quickly. So Choom going for Golden Gate. Going to be a bit greedier than the Kremlin here for GiveUAnxiety. GiveUA bringing back some villagers. He's actually going to be distance gathering briefly off this boar. Gonna have to hold things up actually while he goes for the hunting cabin. I believe that's the only boar on the map here, so for 2 Rus players, that'd be a nice win for GiveUA having access to that hunt. I mean to that boar. Well, Choom's really got to rely on the hunts, and on top of that, killing the boar has given GiveUA a bit of a swing in that bounty gold. So it is going to offset the fact that Choom is going for the more economic landmark here. So, Choom going to be able to convert 100 resources of one type into 150 of another every minute. Effectively, 350 resources at the minute. While the Kremlin, it's more about the militia levying, the value that offers, and very useful unit, and it is a a nice fortress building, but at the same time, these guys don't last forever. They still have a cost. And, your opponent in the mirror has gone for a more economic opening as such. The scout's going to have to retreat. Not going to be able to get that cabin. Because that fortress, realistically GiveUA's only got to put maybe 2 villages in it and he can kill the scouts before they can burn down the cabin. And it's giving GiveUA a nice little wood gathering steroid here, so, I mean, Choom already has a fortress on his own wood line. It's also flanking his gold, so that's really nice for him. I mean, this is sort of doing the same thing for GiveUA anyway, because he can put a camp there. Seeing our players aren't really going to get any more in the way of Rus gold out of the map, I think it's safe we just switch to this UI. And players, we starting to get military with Choom getting a range in the stables. GiveUA getting a range. Choom getting another useful fortress for himself, because this will cover a lot of resources as well. It's not hard to actually cover multiple resources at once with towers on a small map like this. But I do like the fact that GiveUA is just saying, Choom, that sacred site in the center is mine, that boar's mine, and that relic's mine. What are you going to do about it? And right now, Choom, the ball's sort of in his court. He needs to try and muster up the army. It's going to help him repel militia and whatever GiveUA is intending to follow up with. The militia themselves only like a light throwaway unit. So Choom will be able to pick them off, but it's also going to delay a little bit of gathering for him. And it's not going to be the biggest of expenses to GiveUA now. I didn't realize he's actually built to the capital TC. That's right. I was thinking if you built the Kremlin more forward, then you could just take advantage of, having more time on your militia. But it looks like that's been thought of. GiveUA definitely has control of a little bit more food here than Choom does. Choom opening up with a knight now. Could be a good pick because GiveUA's main way of stopping knight aggression here is going to be either having spears or knights of his own, and he sort of won't for a little while yet. The militia, I don't know how well they actually trade against knights. Choom just trying to get as many charges off, while also just heading back towards his opponent's base. Scout on this side just going to be able to heal up through whatever damage the scout does to him. So a pair of militia going to be able to beat a knight. Let's find out, eh? Knight not actually charging then, just walking straight up and taking a smack. GiveUA trying to kill Choom's scout, but I think Choom is relying on the scout to split up these units from the knight. So both our players trying to take quick castles. GiveUA already has that Abbey of the Trinity out. Choom just waiting on a tiny bit more gold before he can get his. It looks like GiveUA is going to get a villager out of that, so it's definitely been worth it. Choom's dropped only a single villager. Dropped a couple of military units now as well. A couple of idlers there, but there we go, Choom's on the ball. Man-at-Arms out in the field already for GiveUA. He's also going to start getting some horse archers by the looks of things, while both our players be getting their warrior monks, eager to get those relics garrisoned as quick as they can. Looks like GiveUA going to go up to 3 relics. And also grab the sacred site, while Choom looks like he's only going to have access to the 2 relics and will be down on the sacred side as well. So be behind in terms of that gold trickle by 200 gold. GiveUA trying to harass the woodline of Choom now. See if you can get another villager or 2. Plenty of archers. At least try and repel this, but bearing in mind a critical mass of man-at-arms is just going to overwhelm archers, so no doubt Choom will be wanting to add crossbows behind this. A little bit more pricey than the archers, but definitely a lot better against the heavily armoured man-at-arms and heavily armoured knights that our players will have access to. And GiveUA, I think, has definitely got all the advantage in terms of access to resources out on the map here. But in saying that, Choom has taken the upgrade that he can cart back the deer with. This will be nice for him. Just that little bit of extra gathering. GiveUA trying to go for a town centre over here. I do have to wonder if this game can go on a little bit longer, if GiveUA might even opt to get maybe a single hunting cabin over here somewhere, just for the tiniest bit of extra gold trickle. Because I mean, he's already up on the gold trickle, so he can get even further on that. Really starts to hurt Choom, because then he can actually start relying on taking fights with a slightly smaller eco than Choom at a point, and having more just of a passive eco rather than one that requires actual gathering and stripping the map bare. Well, Choom, he's going to have to try and find a way to break this hold. GiveUA going for that early Kremlin has sort of given him the initial control of the map here. Well, Choom seemingly has just been playing off the back foot so far. So he's just getting armory techs and amassing an army. He's going to start adding a mangonel as well, so... Oh no, sorry, GiveUA's starting to add the mangonel. That one knight should be able to charge down that crossbow, right? Or a crossbow's that good against knights. Because crossbows only cost half the price of a knight, bearing in mind. So, I mean, if they trade fairly close to 1-to-1, the crossbow actually ends up pulling a hell of a lot further ahead in terms of the value. That Choom scout being caught there. GiveUA now finishing his mangonel. So it looks like Choom's really just adding more crossbows for the moment, but the problem is, if that's really the bulk of his army and GiveUA is happy to just build up his mangonel count, it becomes quite tough for Choom to, you know, take them out as well as deal with the army itself. Choom losing a scout there, so GiveUA can pull these guys into the main army. I think he's pretty much ready to start working away at the structures here. So I believe that fortress will be outranged by the mangonel. 7 range to 9. GiveUA's gone for 2 town centers here through all this as well, so nice eco there. Choom only on the 1 town center. He's actually slightly behind in terms of the passive gold generation as well. How did GiveUA end up with 4 relics and Choom's only ended up with 1? So the one that was over here, GiveUA's actually managed to steal it. Unreal. Actually missed that going on. Now we've got a big engagement, and there is only 1 springled so far. A second one on the way for Choom, but GiveUA, this first springled really low. If he can manage to pick them off, it becomes quite tough here for Choom. So if there's nothing to take out the mangonels, then the crossbows can't really stand still long enough to actually barrage down the infantry. Choom trying to use his villagers. Ooh, that's a nice garrison and ungarrison there. He does get the mangonel, but is it too little too late? Because GiveUA is now at twice the army population of his opponent. Bearing in mind it's only 6 minutes till a sacred victory, so if Choom really slips too far behind here, it's over. And GiveUA takes the game, goes through to the next round.